So path 2, if the fat is not going to get used for fuel, it's going to be incorporated into your body tissues in a variety of different ways, right? Every single one of our cell membranes is comprised primarily of fats, right? And they are packaged together using a molecule called choline into a structure that creates the cell wall around every single cell. And those, they're called phospholipids, are typically a saturated fat and an unsaturated fat, right? Unlike a triglyceride, which has 3 fats attached to a glycerol backbone, a phospholipid has 2 fats attached to a choline backbone. And there's some other variations on that we won't get into, right? But your body very much likes to have saturated fat. I mean, it's kind of funny idea that we've been pursuing a low saturated fat diet for the last gosh knows how long. Your body makes all the saturated fat that it needs, right? It preferentially makes saturated fat because it needs it for every single molecule in every single cell membrane in your entire body, right? The first fat is always a saturated fat. And then the second fat is either a monounsaturated fat or a polyunsaturated fat. So even if you don't eat any saturated fat at all, your body will make all the saturated fat it needs because it has to have a certain amount of it for your body to exist. Not eating saturated fat is kind of ridiculous, right? Same thing with monounsaturated fats. That's what your body prefers to use as the second fat. And if you don't eat any of it, then your body will just make it from the saturated fat. It'll make it saturated fat from the carbohydrates and then monounsaturated fats from the saturated fats. Your body can't make polyunsaturated fats, right? And your body has to have a certain amount of polyunsaturated fats for it to function correctly, for your cell membranes to function correct. Because one of the things that your cell membranes do is pump things in and out of the cell, okay? And these chemical pumps that your body uses actually depend on the molecular energy of the fats that comprise the membrane to work, okay? So if you take one of these pumps from an animal that has, say, a lot of polyunsaturated fat and put it into the cell membrane from an animal that has less polyunsaturated fat, it will run slower. But at any rate, so those are the 2 pathways, fuel or structure. And the type of fat is very important for the structure. In things like your eyes or your brain, your body needs a certain amount of polyunsaturated fat in order to function correctly. 2 types of polyunsaturated fats, that we're going to talk about, omega-6 and omega-3. And omega-6 fats generally come from seeds in the environment. Omega-3 fats generally come from leaves in the environment. Make that distinction because mammals can't make polyunsaturated fats, right? We have to eat them. So you and I get them by eating something else that either ate a leaf or a seed or ate something else that ate a leaf or a seed. At somewhere down the chain, there was a leaf or a seed that produces these fats, right? There's a plant that produced these fats for us to eat. Say we eat a cow, right? Cows, in the normal course of things, mostly eat grass, leaves, and they're going to get a lot of omega-3 fats. So your body has evolved to expect this balance in the environment of roughly 1-to-1 or maybe 2-to-1 of omega-6 fats to omega-3 fats, right? But roughly a balance. So the fats have a variety of different purposes in the body. They're part of our immune system. They're used for signaling. So for instance, when you get hungry, you are experiencing hunger because your body is taking omega-6 fats out of the gut line, out of the lining of your intestines, and turning them into basically a drug called an endocannabinoid that goes to your brain and says, I'm hungry. Now, there's supposed to be a balance there, and it's supposed to be, the omega-3 fats don't have that hunger-causing effect. So if you have lots of omega-6 and not enough omega-3, then all you're going to get is the hunger signal constantly, right? Too much of a hunger signal, and that will cause you to overeat.